Okay, so that's an item. NPCs. In exactly the same way, they're very very similar. So you can see I'm going to go into one of my NPCs here. You see I've set his hit points to be 10 plus 2d6. And this, of course, his hit points, his max hit points will be set to whatever this resulting roll was. His damage, I just sort of kind of made this as a note to myself. Basically, whatever his weapon is that he's carrying, plus 1d4. And that's sort of a randomness almost on his strength kind of thing. And really whatever his experience is worth and his mana and so on, you can put whatever you want. I mean, all the parameters are completely customizable to the Game Master, and it really doesn't matter what you choose. You can make it according to any kind of game type. And then we have the location editor, and this is basically just basically lists the different locations, and I'll show you how to move them around. It's very simple. Basically, you just fill out a name for a location. You can paste the location image or the global image. Use the global map sort of as like a world map, and then use the location image almost like an individual picture or like a smaller, let's say, the town map. And it just sort of, that's the way I decided to make it, because in a lot of cases you might have the same global map, but you want a more specific location map based on this particular location is. Or you might not want to have anything at all. You can just very simply put a name and a description and just be done with it. The Transactions tab is one of the most important tabs in the game. This is where the GM has complete control over his world, and this is where he creates new NPCs from the types that he's created, creates new items from the types, and he's able to move things around and change parameters and delete stuff and so on. So starting with NPCs, I'm just going to go to the NPCs tab. You can see here's all the NPCs that I had shown you from before. They were found originally in the NPC types, so here's all my types that I can create. Right now I just have the game route selected, but what I can do is I can drill in to various places. I can go, let's say, to this location here, and then all I have to do is select which NPCs I want to have created. Let's say White Ram and a Wolf. It'll add. Now, just to demonstrate a couple of things that I showed you earlier, this particular, let's say the wolf, for example, its NPC type has been set where the hit points will be generated as 5 plus a 1d6 roll. So now if I actually go into the wolf, I'll see the result of those parameters. And you can see here the result of 5 plus 1d6 was a 9. The damage stays the same because in order for a roll to be calculated, it needs to be surrounded with curly brackets. Other things, gold, for example, on this particular wolf, he had none. But of course, if I wanted to, I could actually change that. And in order to change a parameter, I would go to the Transfer and Edit tab. So let's say I've got my wolf that I've created. I'm going to Transfer and Edit tab. I want to give him some gold. I can either use the plus or minus to add to or subtract from the current value. Let's say I'll do that. I'll give him 100 gold. And there it shows up there. You have to remember to hit the save parameter changes. And then once you do, boom. And there you go. He's got 100 gold. Now, going back to the NPCs tab, and having a look at these NPCs, if I had not put a 0 in the gold parameter on the NPC, I wouldn't be able to edit this later on. So even if let's say most of your wolves will not have any gold, you're going to want to put at least a 0 in there so that later on you'd be able to change it so that sometimes they do have gold. But that's entirely up to you and how you want to create your game. So that's creating a new NPC. The exact same thing happens with items. So I can give this NPC an item, let's say. I have him selected, so if I go add selected on while he's there, you can see he now has a leather sack. And I can go into the sack and I can add stuff into that as well. And that's how you create the game, basically. Going back to the Transfer and Edit, now maybe what I'll want to do is I want to take my wolf and I'll want to move him somewhere else. So I've got my created wolf. Right now he's in the East Mountains, but let's say I'm going to put him right into the city. I'm going to put him right in here. So I'm going to have him selected, and I'm going to hit the transfer button. I can also select things that that he owns, but I want him to be selected, so I select him and hit the transfer button. Now anything in the whole page that is selected, I could have everything here selected, and it would just switch back and forth. So there you go. I have him selected. I'm just going to hit the transfer button, and there you go. Now he is in Honak, and there he is right there, and you can see the NPC wolf. His parent is Honak, in fact. One last tab in here to have a look at is the delete, and you can browse through your game, select whatever you like, and delete whatever you like, of course. Now, one thing to note about the delete: if there's anything that you delete that contains other things, those things will not be deleted. They will just fall onto whatever the next parent is. So if, let's say, I just deleted this wolf's pack, if I delete the pack and the pack had some stuff in it, then the wolf will then just contain those things instead of having those things being deleted. That's just a safeguard, so if you wanted to get rid of something, you wouldn't lose all the items inside that you might have taken a lot of time to create.